Given some tax incentives that exist only for the Model X, a brand new Model X is a lot closer in price to a Model 3 than many realize, making a Model X a much better deal than the Model 3. In this video, we're going to go and do a comparison between the Model X and the Model 3, and you'll be surprised at how much cheaper a brand new Model X actually is. The base price of the Model 3 is $35,000, and for this comparison, we chose the Model X 75D with a starting price of $79,500. For the Model 3, we selected the long-range option, and for the Model X, the wide interior upgrade. And for both cars, we selected the Premium Update and Autopilot. After taxes and fees, that brings the total for the Model 3 to $58,710, and for the Model X, we're looking at a price of a little bit over $101,000. The tax credit is going to go down after Tesla sells 200,000 cars, and we know they're getting very close. So this credit will be reduced by 50% every 6 months until it phases out completely. If you're waiting in line for the Model 3, you're running the risk of getting a reduced tax credit. For this analysis, we're going to assume that you get 50% of that tax credit if you're buying the Model 3. Now, if you decide to buy the Model X, you will get the car in about 6 weeks, and you will be maximizing your chances of getting the full $7,500 credit. Then we're going to look at the tax savings for business use of the car. This is a write-off that reduces your business income liability. And this applies not only to business owners, but also freelancers or anyone that makes any income on a 1099. Because the Model X is over 6,000 pounds, you are allowed to deduct the entire price of the car in 2018. And depending on your tax bracket, this represents a tax savings that can be several tens of thousands of dollars. So in this example, we chose a tax bracket of 32%, and that gives you a tax savings of about $30,000. Now, the story is very different for the Model 3. Because the Model 3 is less than 6,000 pounds, it is routed through a different section of the tax code. The depreciation deduction is capped to $18,000, which translates to tax savings of only $5,760 if you're using the same 32% tax bracket. That brings the price of the Model 3 after incentives and taxes to $49,200, and for the Model X is going to be $63,581. This is a difference of only about $14,000 for this example. The Model X is a higher end car, more luxurious, and with more features than the Model 3. So most think that the difference in price between the Model 3 and the Model X is this line here, which shows about $40,000 difference. But in reality, for many that can take advantage of the business use of the car, a Model X is a lot closer in price to a Model 3, making it a much better deal. Let's take a look at a second scenario where we add a dual motor option to the Model 3 and assume an extra $7,500 for that update. That brings the difference to only about $6,000. Here's how the tax savings work for the Model X and the Model 3. Again, you're self-employed, own a company, you freelance, or you have some 1099 income. Starting with the cost basis of the Model X at $93,800, that is the cost of the car before taxes, you're allowed to take a $25,000 deduction to your business income using Section 179. This reduces your cost basis to $68,800 for any remaining deductions. For 2018, the tax reform allows a bonus depreciation deduction of 100%. Which means you can take that remaining basis of $68,800 as a deduction. At this point, your remaining basis is zero and the additional deductions are no longer needed. Assuming 100% business use of the car, your total deduction is 100% the cost of the car. Using the 32% tax bracket in this example, the tax savings add up to $30,000. Because the Model 3 weighs less than 6,000 pounds, you're only allowed to take $18,000 depreciation deduction, and using the 32% tax bracket, that brings your tax savings to about $5,760. So one thing I wanted to point out is that your business income does not have to be as high as the price of the Model X. in order to take advantage of the tax savings. And the reason why is because the bonus depreciation rolls over to other tax years if you didn't make enough business income during the year you filed. Based on the information shown in this video, what is your take on the differences between the Model X and the Model 3? Does this change any of your considerations for the Model 3 or the Model X? Please leave your comments and questions below.